Okay. Good evening. So yeah, if you want to take notes in this class, you want to walk away with 5 major insights or perspectives, all based on one interesting nuance in the beginning of the parasha. Let's begin. Sorry for the late start. This is actually a wedding
I can't see that.
painting, but let's see if we can see this. Okay, so every Jewish wedding is done these days with a ring. And where is the source of this? How do we know that you could get married by giving something of value? You have to do something symbolic, like to make to launch the commitment. Torah law teaches that there's different ways, but the main way, the accepted way, the first way, is to use a ring that represents its monetary value, and through that she commits and you commit and to the relationship, and it's up and running. And how do we actually know that this works? It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that the way to get married is through giving something symbolically of monetary value, and then you used in that ceremony you commit to each other. How do we know that? So it's something called the Gzeira Shava. That there's a word it uses by when the Torah talks about the concept of getting married, and also a similar word is used. Let's see how the Gemara puts it. Should we turn off the lights?
Yeah.
You'll see better. I catch you falling asleep. Okay.
Could deadlifting count as could deadlifting be as like a way to signify this?
No. Hold on. Let's see this. Okay. Ha'isha niknis v'shalish drachim. The Mishnah says there's 3 ways to cause a marriage bond to begin, right? To acquire your spouse. It says through money, through shtar, there's a document, and bia is intimacy. We're not going to go discuss all the details now, but I want to point out the first thing in the Gemara. Okay? V'kesef minalan. The Talmud asks, how do we know that you could use money to achieve the marriage bond? How do we know that it works, that money could be used for this? So the Gemara's response is, Gamar kicha, mistei Ephraim. The word taking is used by marriage, by the verse that says kika chishisha. It uses the form of the word taking, and also by when Avram Avinu in the beginning of this week's parsha, when he purchased the field from the field of Ephraim, from Ephraim, right? He purchased it to get the Ma'aras HaMachpelah, the special cave where he wanted to bury his wife. So it also uses the word, that transaction, it uses the word taking. And there it says clearly the taking was through cash, through money. So you learn out from there, this is one of the 13 principles, how we derive certain unclear details of the Torah. It's called Gzeira Shava, that a word is linked and you clarify something of what's the meaning. It doesn't say how you take a woman. When it says when you take a woman and then something happens, it doesn't say any details. Okay, by marriage it says when a man takes a woman, and without explaining how the taking happens. And uksiv hasan, but it says elsewhere, nasati kesef asada kachimeni. I have given you the money for the field, take it from me. So here it uses the word kach, and here it uses the word take. So the linking of the 2 words. This is the source for that marriage could be achieved through monetary value, and now this is the main way and the only way we get married these days. We're using a ring, but this is how the Torah presents. This is the Talmud, how it presents the source. Okay, and the question we're going to address today is, what in the world is the Torah doing this for? The Torah couldn't find a better source to teach us about the mechanism of marriage. It picks the story, it links marriage to this poor how Avram Avinu is burying his wife after the marriage is over when she died. It's not just random. It's worse than random. It seems so inappropriate, right? Like, even if it was everything in the Torah has reasons, even if it seemed like not connected. But this is like much worse than random. This This is like the opposite of a marriage bond. Like this is he's Nebuch, he's poor guy, he's burying his wife, and this is the Torah and Hashem's infinite wisdom chooses to make the source of marriage specifically from this discussion. It links it to when he's buying a burial plot for his wife. There must be some deeper significance to this, and like everything in Torah, there's always a good reason. And let's embark on a small journey. So this I should add to the general knowledge. Bli neder, someone remind me after, I'll post it. And I want you to do it. Besides what I posted about the gematrias, this week I think you should learn, everyone should know these 4 concepts. That there's 4 general categories of Torah interpretation. There's pshat. That's the literal, basic level. Remez, there's like allusions. Drush is homiletical and like lessons. And Side is like mystical, Kabbalah, and so on. These are the acronym is Pardes, the orchard of Torah study. And these are the 4 layers. Like Rashi's famous saying, I'm here to explain the pshat. And if I bring a medrash, it's only because it smooths something out on the level of literal understanding, right?
What does homiletical mean?
Like lessons and expositions, like inspirational lessons and things like that. You'll see. So what I want to do with you is I want to present an answer to that question of why the Torah chooses this strange source for the mechanism of marriage on all 4 levels. Okay? Number 1, this is pshat. Okay? Oh, the simple idea is the Torah wants to teach you, like you see, what are all these things? We unfortunately in society sometimes more and sometimes worse. It's very famous for that. That people looked in the world around us. Look at the relationships. Things became very cheap. Like everything in our lives, we're not like you throw it out. You change your things, your free returns. Everything is like without the idea of committing to something, to a relationship, and to say I'm going to work hard. And this is really, I'm going to really give it my all to try to make it work. Not like any little thing, I'm going to forget it. It's not so exciting anymore. Let's try someone else. Let's return. Let's exchange. Let's This is the Torah is teaching you, and it chooses this source to tell you this, that the attitude is, obviously there is divorce in the Torah, but the attitude is that you're going to try to make this work for life. And you're going to work really hard. You prepare yourself mentally, and you anticipate that there's obviously I'm going to have to work on myself, and I'm going to have to grow, and there's going to be different kinds of days and different kind of challenges, and you anticipate all that. And instead of like, oh, okay, just easily, it's not exciting to something that doesn't feel right. Next, try someone else. We look at marriage just a Torah perspective thing, right? Marriage is about growing up, actually. Richard, one thing goes wrong, you give up, right? This is the jokes I found of the secular world, but this is not a Torah perspective at all. This is what you learn out from the source. You see how you get that? The Torah puts it from the source. It's like you're going to try to make it work till the grave. You're going to try very hard. Obviously, again, there is extreme cases, and it's not like some other religions, right? We do have a concept of divorce, but it's not something you do lightly. The Torah attitude is, you really, once you commit, you really, really prepare yourself to work very, very hard on making this work for life. And that's the first lesson. That's why the Torah chooses precisely this source to teach you this, that you want to, it's like really serious. Let's elaborate a little bit about this. The word love is very abused, I should say, right? I love chocolate. I love New York, right? The story with the guy who was eating chicken, and like, why are you eating chicken? Because I love the chicken. Really? You love the chicken? That's why you take it and you cut its throat and you pull out its feathers and you skin it and you cook it. Is that what you do to those that you love? Say the truth, right? You love yourself. So this is what's behind this misconception, confusion. What's the real definition of love according to Torah? It's actually related to the word hav. which means giving. It's not about what you receive. It means your love is you want to share, you want to give to someone. There's another pasuk in this week's parsha. Crazy and fascinating. Look at this insight. He brought her into the tent. He took her as a wife, and then he loved her. Yitzchak married Rivka. She became, and he loved her. It's like, what? It's like, did I read that right? In the world, they think like you fall in love, and then you get married. And he was like, no. But that excitement in the beginning before you get married. That's time Hashem programmed us a certain way. We get excited between the genders, a certain chemistry. That's nothing. That's not real love. Real love is when you grow together. That only could come after commitment and doing things for each other. It's a great letter. She related the Hannah Sharfstein. A younger married woman was discussing with the Rebbe some perspective imaginary being suggested to her, and she explained why none of them appealed to her. The Rebbe chuckled. You have read too many romance novels, he replied. Love is not the overwhelming, blinding emotion we find in the world of fiction. Real love is an emotion that intensifies throughout life. It is a small, everyday act of being together that makes love flourish. It is sharing and caring and respecting one another. It is building a life together, a family, and a home. As two lives unite to form one, over time there is a point where each partner feels a part of the other, where each partner can no longer visualize life without the other at his or her side. This is not that exciting fireworks that you could have sometimes in the beginning of a relationship. That's always temporary and guaranteed to fade. Obviously, we work on holding on to it and keep feeling feelings, but it's a whole other difference, much more deeper and powerful as when you work on a relationship. And that's all connected to that first point. It's a Torah perspective. It's not like, it has to be exciting. It is, and then as soon as it's a little bit fading, forget it. I found something that's not so exciting, attractive in my spouse. Okay, we got to just go move on to someone else. Chas v'shalom, to work on yourself, right? This is all I'm just elaborating on that first point, that the attitude in Torah is what love really means, that you're looking to work on yourself, you're ready for this, and you're ready to work hard for like anything valuable, you got to work hard. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we said remez, hints. Okay, so Ephraim came home that day, and he was sitting there on the rocking chair counting his bills or his coins and saying, what a loser. They say these Jews are savvy business people. They're so smart. And I got from him 400 coins for his lousy piece of real estate that you can't even use for planting like some old cave. He felt like he won the lottery. Meanwhile, Avram Avinu comes home and he's telling his family or whoever is around, like, I can't believe it, for just 400 coins, I got the special cave where Adam and Chava are buried, where the people were created by Hashem themselves. Just 400 coins, unbelievable. Each one felt like they won the lottery, right? So this is the idea, the message. This is the biggest gift. I think I have it straight out. But first we have some jokes. My husband's sitting back pondering how he got so lucky with me. He just can't believe it. Well, my husband thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not the one who married me. Here's the one. Here's the point.
Back up one second.
No. This is the meaningful one. This is the good one. This is what I want to get at. A good marriage is one where each partner secretly suspects they got the better deal. That's exactly what that insight is. That you have to. I found this. It says unknown, but it comes from this remez, right? That you see from that story, the way it works. So we use this as a source because that transaction of the cave of Machpelah, each one came and felt like they got the biggest deal. It teaches you, alludes to this concept that the best blessing in marriage is to each to feel, and this is connected to what you focus on, right? You shouldn't be, I don't know if you should be, right? Here, this is making more of a joke, but you want to focus on the blessings and the good points, and be grateful and express that and so on, right? That's a secret also, a perspective and a value that Torah helps us have in our marriage. Okay, and this is the second answer to our question, why this is the Torah source. Number 3, Drush. So if you study Jewish history, which tomorrow we're officially doing history, because we're going to do Chav Cheshvan, the Rebbe Rashab, we're going to do whole story about the Rebbe Hasham, maybe if Hashem's help. But if you know a little Jewish history, we're going to do a little crash course. See something fascinating.
How do you say this in Hebrew? Drash?
Drush. That the Jews suffered so much in Egypt, and what happened afterwards?
They were freed.
We got the Torah. We had a relationship with Hashem. Well, freedom goes with Torah, right? So we got the Torah, and we had a marriage with Hashem. Look at what came from it. We were the most miserable situation, but afterwards we had a tremendous spiritual, uplifting, amazing, world-changing, result that came from this. Okay, what happened? Let's move on. We had the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. The first one, we ended up with the great holiday of Purim shortly after. Then the Greeks bothered us, and we ended up with the holiday of Hanukkah. When they destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, we ended up with the Mishnah and the Gemara, right? That came. Whenever we go through these terrible tragedies, right? The Crusades, ended up with the Taisvis. Whenever somehow we take whatever experience, right? This is more contemporary, the Holocaust, and we ended up with the state of Eretz Yisrael. But you'd see it if you study Jewish history. Whatever we go through, we end up. We don't just become broken by it. We find a way to make something good come from it, to something to grow from it, right? We take this is a beautiful insight in marriage. In marriage as well, this is more of a drush, like a whole nice drasha lesson that you see in Jewish history. But this is also what happened here. We take that dark experience, that bad experience, and we turn it into life. What are we doing? We're learning out from the burial, etc. We're learning out how to get married, right? But the truth is also practically in marriage as well. Every time there's an episode of tension or distance or darkness or whatever you want to call it, which always happens, it's never going to be consistent. That's the definition. It's not siblings, it's spouses. Spouses is always overcoming a certain distance. So it fluctuates. There's times when you're feeling close, and times that it needs more effort to feel better. And that's perfect. That's normal. That's how it's supposed to be. But you have to use every episode to generate even more bonding light and warmth. That's how you look at these times. Instead of getting discouraged and down, we're not feeling close now or something, or I said something that insulted her, or she said something that caused me discomfort, she didn't realize what I wanted, she misunderstood. These things will happen all the time. That's very helpful to anticipate. But to realize that they're happening to help you grow closer. You use them, you talk it out, you deal with it, you apologize if necessary, whatever you deal with issues, and instead of becoming a problem, it actually is a catalyst to become even closer.
What do we learn from Abraham?
Oh, you learn out from the opposite of, we learn out from the opposite of from burial. We're learning out the concept of marriage. That's the Torah. It's a way of giving you, and that's what happened. You see in history, everything negative, we use all the opposite of life to make a source of life. Marriage is to generate new life, right? And it's famous idea, right? Whenever the Tanya brings this idea, when you have a string, something rips, there's a disconnect. If you tie it over there, that spot becomes the strongest, the hardest to rip. If you make a good knot, where there was a rip. So the same thing, whenever you have an issue sometimes, and you deal with it properly, you don't just have the same bond you had before. You have even a stronger connection. And that's the next insight. Let's go to number 4, Kabbalah. We start off with a joke. Okay, a man is incomplete until he's married, then he's finished.
Hold on one sec.
This is
Unbelievable.
basics of Kabbalah.
Make sure your future shidduch doesn't see this.
Why? It's very accurate. Look at the next source. I see why I put it as an intro to Kabbalah, because look at the Kabbalah sources. A little Zohar. Everyone who's under 40, please leave the room. Okay, I'm just kidding. The Amar Rabbi Shimon.
Everybody leave except for the fire.
Amar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon, right, the primary author of the Zohar, but he's quoted here. He says as follows: Zavga the Dacha Nukva, the union of male and female. Ikri Echad is called oneness or unity. Why? Because the Dacha Belay Nukva, of male without female. Pala gufa is only a half a body, really. You're really two parts of one whole. Ikri is called. Upala glav huchad, and a half is not one; it's a half. V'kad mischabron kechada, when you bond, they join their lives together. Today, palgi, two half souls, two half man, is avidu chad gufa. They become one body. Yukadin ikri echad, and then they're called one. So this is the famous idea I hope you heard, right? Marriage is not a union, but a reunion. The soul was originally one. It gets split up into a male and to female. And then it comes, and then you find each other. And you have a reunification, a reunion. That's what the wedding is, really celebrating.
Your wife is the other soul.
That's a good discussion, but I can't go into it now. But this is the other idea. So this is brought out from the story of the way the Torah teaches us marriage from the burial. Why? Because it doesn't. It's the Kabbalah's perspective is teaching us again that marriage it started before you were born and continues after your life. It's much bigger than just this world. Your souls were one, and they got separated, and they came together, and then you continue, and then afterwards. And that's why it wants to teach you this perspective. It teaches you specifically from Sarah. He didn't only buy a burial plot for Sarah. He bought for himself right next to her. Again, expressing this idea that it's much bigger. And it's much bigger than just, what you see in this world, two people meeting each other. There's a soul connection before, and there's a soul connection after, and that's what it's bringing out by learning it specifically from this source, seemingly random source, but it makes it very appropriate.
Right,
Now,
so why do I have to be 4 to know that?
again,
Why do I have to be 4
I was
to know
joking.
that?
I was joking. Some concepts in Kabbalah is the way you got to be for in general to learn it on your own. For sure, you want to be, but not be. They say you want to be ready for it, and it's not just a number for it. You have to. It represents a level of Torah knowledge that represents like being ready for it. You have to fill yourself. It says with the bread first before you do Kabbalah, like the Talmud and things. I'm not going to go into that discussion now. But with Chassidus, you for sure could. Here's the point. So this, by the way, is not just a perspective, but this also make a big difference how you deal with things come up in your marriage. Just keeping this in mind, so it helps you like not to get so caught up. You had a little issue this, but it's such a big picture to it. So it helps you handle whatever tensions or distance that could come up. You like remind yourself that we could figure this out. Just to have the bigger picture makes a big difference. Okay, summary. So far, we had Pshat, Remes, Drush, and Soy. Let's go over these. Right, we said how the Pshat is that it's telling you about the perspective of what love means and how you look at marriage, that you're ready to work on yourself, to really try very hard to make it work, not to take things cheap. That's the message, right? The second one we said about how you always want to feel and focus on things that you feel like you want the jackpot. We said Drush is the idea of using everything, anything like that happens between you, like sometimes negative or dark or challenging. Use it as a springboard, as opportunity to get even closer. And from the fourth one, we had the idea that there's much more to our marriage than just this lifetime. There's souls before, and it continues after, and so on. And this is the 4 Pshat, Remesh, and Drush, and Soy. But there's actually much more deeper. There's the 5th layer. What's the 5th layer? Chassidus. How can we have the strength to persevere? How do we have the strength to do all those things we just said? How can we always feel like we won the lottery? How can we transform all of life's lemons into catalysts for growth? How can we always focus on our soul connection, right? If life hands you melons, you might be dyslexic, right? So,
If life hands you melons, you might be dyslexic.
So, what's the secret? For this we get to the 5th level. The neshama. This Chassidus is like the soul, the 5th layer, even of all the 4 layers, general layers we said before. And here I'm going to share with you, we're going to end off with the Vart of the Alter Rebbe, also answering this question. Or at least learning a beautiful marriage insight in our marriage with Hashem from this concept. He brings the Mishnah, Isha Niklis Shalosh Derechim, and he explains up Chassidus, it's saying we connect to Hashem. We bond with our spouse, Hashem, 3 ways. Love, kesef is love. Kasaf is nichsafa, means yearning and love, like that's what love is, yearning to be close. Torah, shtar is Torah, the text, the document. And Biyah is referring to when Mashiach comes, which says there will be the intimacy, with the oneness with Hashem in the greatest sense, and it's considered the nisuyin, the consummation of the marriage that began in Matan Torah. And the Gemara asks, Kesef minayin, minolan. How do we know? How do we get the love? What if I don't feel the love? How do I get it? The Gemara is asking. And what's the Gemara's answer? We learn it out we get it from Stay Ephraim. What's Stay Ephraim?
What does that mean?
The field of Ephraim. So both of these words, field is the earth, right? Ephraim also means soil. What is this? Let me get to the story and then I'll explain. I'll give a little anecdote. Someone once asked the rabbi, Shalom Bayis is so holy, so special, so important. Why don't we have a blessing in the Amidah? If it's an important need for a person, how come we don't mention it anywhere in the Shemana Esrei? So the rabbi said, what do you mean? You say it every day, 3 times a day. By the end of Shemana Esrei, you say the following words. V'nafshi ka'afer lakol tiyeh. There's your prayer for Shalom Bayis. You say the words, let my soul be like the earth before everyone. I should be humble. They should like, it sounds terrible, unhealthy. They should step on me, but it's bringing out a concept. Real bittul. That's what you're praying for. I should have bittul. What's bittul? I'll get back to that in a second, right? Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. The ability to, it's not about me, not focusing on yourself. Right? This is what you're praying for. I should have bittul. I should be like the offer. That's the Stay Ephraim. This is the secret to all the other 4 explanations. How you could have it. If you have this bittul, if you work on not being so self-absorbed. This is the word out that Rebbe said. How could you have Ava? How could you be Ava means you're focusing on giving to another. It's only from Stay Ephraim. If you could transcend the selfishness of being obsessed with yourself, what's in it for me, what people are going to think about me, you have to find a way to transcend this, and then you're ready for everything. And this is the soul of all the other 4 interpretations, which I don't have here, but we could use it to answer over here. If I could go back quickly, right? This will give us the strength to work on our marriage even when things are not so rosy. This will help us feel like we won the lottery, because when you have bittul, you're focusing on yourself. You're feeling grateful. You can focus on what the other's doing for you, and then you could deal with all the lemons in life, right? And yours turn it into growth. You don't get caught up in it. You don't become a victim, right? If you have bittul, you're not a victim. You don't have to wallow in your own misery.
What did the last slide say? Can you go back?
And how can we always focus on our soul connection? That's the deeper connection. Again, the bittul means you activate your neshama, you connect to your neshama. That's the only way you could feel bittul. Your body is extremely selfish and animalistic. So you actually have 5. That's the 5th idea, the first insight about why marriage is, we learn out from Stay Ephraim, this idea of bittul. Right, we say v'nashika ofel kol tiyeh, the earth, right? The true definition of it. This slide you're going to see from me a lot. It comes up all the time. It's a really, really good definition. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. It's just not about you, not about me. All right, let's do halacha now. And tomorrow we'll have to do either the history or something else I want to finish for you. Okay,
Wow.
let's do.
I think you're ready to call you date now.
I just